After a week of beginning to monitor the hive's interior temperature and humidity versus exterior temperature and humidity, some findings are already becoming quite clear, although obviously this is very preliminary given how brief it's been. These are the mouse guards that I'm experimenting with. Well, third year of trying different approaches towards mouse guarding. But on the moisture and temperature management of the hives, the very interesting thing is that, despite the outside being 100 degrees plus, about 90 to 110 on two sides, because of sunshine, there's been a lot of it lately, against the outside, even when it's about 30 degrees out, 30 to 40 degrees outside, 2 to 3 hours after that solar gain hitting the beehive, the middle, this is measuring, there's a probe inside at the top of, this is an insulated box, hive body. This is honey super deep, and a deep that the cluster is now in. After 2 to 3 hours of a lot of heat being applied to the outside of the colony, and I know because I've measured the inside wood, and these are thicker than normal colonies, hive bodies. I use 5/4 versus 3/4 to 4/4. And I know the inside of that wood has now warmed up to about 100 degrees. It's very warm to the touch. The middle, this probe is top of the second deep, is only 49 degrees, which is basically not much warmer than the outside temperature today, right now. So the thermal mass of the honey does a lot. That's one finding. And the other finding, which is, these aren't surprising, but I'm confirming it. Same here, 50 degrees. It's 1 degree difference at the top of the second deep. And I know this is filled with bees because I checked it not long ago, and there haven't been many bees dying yet. The other interesting thing is how little the cluster is heating even above it, one box. And that's in a box, above a box full of bees as well. So it's really interesting. We know that, as far as I understand, the heating cluster around the brood, the winter cluster around what's a tiny brood nest, is where the heat is applied. And the other bees are essentially very, very dormant, and they're not putting out much heat, although they are putting out some. But what I'm realizing more and more after discussing with people and everyone disagreeing about it is that they're putting out so little heat that and the reason I'm trying to address this is, does it make sense to insulate your hives a little bit or a lot? And I think what we're seeing from measuring, at least in preliminary data, is that it doesn't in this context. I could be wrong. We could find out some new information as we keep measuring this winter, and even measuring over multiple winters. But that's what we're seeing so far, which makes a lot of sense. The cluster of bees weighs like a pound or 2 or 3. There's 100 pounds of honey in this hive. The nights are cold. That honey cools down. They can't keep that all warm. So they're just keeping themselves warm. It's like they're in a sleeping bag inside of a cold house. They're not trying to keep the whole house warm.